3 to go. And now 1. And there's the horn. The Colorado
Good evening,
Avalanche
ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the
20-something
podcast.
Calgary Flames in 5 games tonight. In Game 5, the final is 5-1, and the Avs will move on to the Western Conference.
Week two.
Avs.
Yeah, you're right.
Avs.
Yeah,
I'm
suck it. We're right. You're wrong.
Hey, you guys said get Avs in 5.
You guys said 5. I said 6. I wanted him to win in Colorado, but that's equally.
Just being stingy.
Hey, whatever.
Let the record show that we were all right in a way because we all had the Avalanche beating the Calgary Flames in this series.
And we were all wrong about Tampa.
Let the record show that I probably went about 20% on all of my predictions last week. But, that's the game. That's the game.
You'd be a really good baseball player,
Name of the
20%. But
Yeah, I'd be the Hall of Fame.
So, Trent, what are we talking about today, buddy?
Week 2. I'm glad we came back for week 2,
Episode 2, we made it.
Episode 2, we made it. We are the 20-something podcast. I'm your host, Trent. To my left, Ado. To his left, Dan Demand 33. We got a slate of things on the agenda today, from NFL draft to social media, the good and bad. And I'm still kind of out of a topic idea. I'm just going to kind of wing it and let these beautiful guys talk to my left, and then I'm going to...
I like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes, people work better under pressure.
Yeah.
No?
I need a plan.
I need it
Yeah,
organized.
You seem like our systematic approach.
Dude, I literally...
Guru, so to
it's
speak.
awful.
Like if I needed to figure out how to get something to work the right way, you would be the guy that I would call.
Absolutely. That's But before we get into it, we got to shout out to our sponsor, Blockbuster Video. Rest in peace. There's only one left, Bend, Oregon. If you're listening out there, we miss you.
Ben,
back.
Ben, you don't know what you got.
Yes.
Best job I ever had.
How long
You
did
worked
at?
You worked at Blockbuster?
I was there
That's
for a summer
right.
after my senior year of high school. I worked there for a summer. My mom was a manager there, so she had the hookup. But
you had to wear the
free
blue
game
polo.
rentals, free movie rentals. It was fantastic. I loved it.
The
You
blue
had
polo,
Netflix
right?
before Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Well, I mean,
Did they have TV shows at Blockbuster? Didn't have TV shows, did
No,
they? No.
I mean, the thing that kind of blew my mind, why I don't get how Blockbuster went out of business, is they kept all the old movies. Mm-hmm. Like, that was one of
they
my
had
favorite things to do.
classics.
Is I used to go, I rented Good Burger like probably 5 times that summer.
Welcome to the Good Burger.
Home to the Good Burger.
Can't
Can't take it
away.
with it.
Oh, classic right
Yeah,
there.
so that's our week 2 sponsor. So shout out to Blockbuster. We
The
miss you.
thing I
dearly.
remember about Blockbuster, though, is like the feeling you had as a little kid walking in there.
$5. Hey,
Well, and it was just like your parents were like, all right, you get to pick one. And then it was like everyone else got to pick one each, I was always the kid who came back and sat
See,
long.
and the best part, that my mom worked at there for like 10 years of my childhood.
remember that.
Right? Mm-hmm. And she used to get the movies like a week in advance.
dude.
And so we got to watch every single movie like before it came out, just so she could, if somebody asked her about it, be like, "Oh, what did you think of this?" She could give an
Right.
honest response. So
I'd be that
Oh,
kid.
yeah, sure. That's the reason why.
I got to do that summer too.
Yeah, there you go.
It's great.
That's amazing.
I would be the guy that called in about a week in advance, like, "Yo, when's this game coming out?"
Yeah, nice.
Like Friday night.
Same.
So, can you like hold one?
Yeah.
Or like, no, man, it's like we get 8 copies of that game because it's the hottest one. You just got to be here.
Well,
so,
dude,
like, what time do you guys usually?
People
get
used to
these
come
games?
in and be like, "Hey, could I rent this game? What happens if I don't bring it back?" And I'd be like, "Well, you're gonna buy it. Well, how much?" I'm like, "Well, the rental fee is gonna go up to $20 before you have to buy it, and you have to pay $70. You're gonna be paying $90 for a $50 game." Yeah, but they were out of it at Walmart, so you
gotta
do
make
you,
sure I
man.
like
He's gonna
it.
charge a card, so
I got to make sure I
Your
like
choice.
it. All right. Yeah.
Sweet.
Blockbuster, dude.
That's hilarious.
miss you.
So what are we going to... Who's... Daniel, talk about who your MVP candidate may be.
My
today.
MVP candidate, sorry, Nuggets fans, is well, it's Derek White. So he's plays for the San Antonio Spurs. He's just been going off
I haven't
in
been
this
watching.
series. But the
That
reason I
doesn't
chose him as
surprise
my MVP was because he's a Colorado kid. He grew up in
Oh, that's cool.
in Legend. So like I wouldn't be picking him just because he was going off against the Nuggets. The fact that he's a Colorado alum and he even went to Boulder, UCCS,
He
and
went to
then Boulder.
UCCS for 3 years.
Yeah.
UCCS?
UCCS and then Boulder, and then when he got drafted by the
Jeez.
Spurs like 27th, got demoted for a couple games because he was kind of off, and then he started
Now he's
doing really
just going
well,
off.
and then this year he's just. I mean, he didn't really do a lot. I don't think he did as much during the regular season, but I mean, just this postseason
This postseason's been a killer. He's a Nugget killer right now. But yeah, no one wanted him coming out of high school.
Do you have an MVP yet?
I do. Malcolm James McCormick, or professionally known as Mac Miller.
My
Rest
man.
in peace. Absolutely.
R.I.P.
Rest in peace. What about you?
Today my MVP is going to be an unnamed
Source.
spiritual soul guider of all things marijuana.
It's because of the day. Yeah, it's because of the day.
Yeah, today's 420.
You guys will be listening to this on Sunday, but
Yes.
when we record this as a national holiday.
Every day is 420 in the Hernandez residence, so this isn't too big of a deal, but I do think that, and I won't name him, but I'll say that again, but my old pot dealer really used to stick his neck on the line for me so that I could have a good time, and I respect that,
Yeah, absolutely.
I used to drive all the way from Colorado Springs just so he could sell me some weed.
Can we give him a name just for the podcast? Miles? I like Miles.
I like Miles because he went miles, right?
There we go. There we go. Literally top of the cuff.
Yes.
We took that.
There we go.
Yeah, so we're going to call this unnamed source Miles just for the podcast.
Sweet. So that's our
I like it.
our MVPs. Well, I don't know. You guys might have a tough time beating mine this week. Once I really get you the lowdown.
Once you break it down,
Once I tell you about
everything
Miles.
he did for you,
Yeah.
the 100 miles he had to drive, to go all the way down
Both ways.
back.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I was on the
Tough
road
life.
for 45 minutes. Okay, just to get you this. No, I'm excited.
You mean to tell me you would drive 45 minutes to sell someone something when you could?
I mean, I can't
probably
even talk. I drive 45 minutes every day to work.
Yeah.
So he's basically doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Except he probably didn't pay taxes.
And he probably
So-
makes a little bit more.
No income tax. No income tax.
Yeah. Yeah, this was the last second MVP candidate, but we were listening. I've been listening to him.
You
Obviously.
can never go wrong with one of the music industries, one of the world's great people.
No,
You know.
no.
Just a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to redeem myself from last week because Max Holloway lost his fight, and I think I jinxed him. I reached out to him personally on Twitter.
Did
I was
you?
like,
Oh,
dude,
man,
my bad.
you might be, fam.
My bad.
I mean, to be honest, like when he lost, though, you barely see people that humble. So
Yeah.
that was an awesome thing.
He was,
to see.
he was really cool. He's just a cool dude. He loses like a man, he wins like a man. But anyway, first topic, we're going to talk about the NFL draft, right?
2019 NFL draft.
Do it!
The
Come on,
NFL
kill me! I'm here! Come on! Do it now! Kill me!
So, who you guys got in the very first pick? I think everyone's probably going with Kyler Murray or that defensive
So,
end.
for those who don't know, the Cardinals they have the first pick in the draft. Worst team last year. Offensive line was awful.
And they drafted a
Suspect
quarterback.
quarterback play. But yeah, they did draft Josh Rosen. He did play after
He
his
just
son
looks like an
Bradford.
asshole. He looks like
God,
an
he looks
asshole.
so smug.
I don't know. I hope he's listening.
He looks
to this.
smug.
Dude, smug, you know.
Smug as a bug in a rug.
Smug as a bug in a rug.
Yeah, I don't know. Him and I just don't like his face.
So the
So
Cardinals
Cardinals got one.
hired a new coach this offseason, Cliff Kingsbury.
Young guy.
And that's why all the speculation is so high on Kyler Murray. And I'm pretty sure we all have him as
Didn't
our
they-
first pick.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the head coach
The Rams.
So didn't he get a job at like USC? But then he like immediately turned it down, and then
Cliff?
yeah,
Oh, I'm not sure. I know I'm pretty sure he was at Texas A&M.
he was at Texas Tech.
Texas Tech,
He was
yeah.
at Texas Tech, and then I want to say that he got an offer to be the offensive coordinator or the coach for USC, and then immediately turned that down because Arizona called. I don't know. I could be wrong, but anyway, the young guy, young quarterback, young scheme. I don't know. We'll be interested. But Josh Rosen's kind of
They have to trade away Josh Rosen.
He has to.
You can't
You have
keep
to.
two guys that young. It's just not going to be good for the locker room. But who takes Josh Rosen? I mean, we're not talking about that today.
Well,
not talking about that today.
but to that point where if you bring in Kyler Murray and you already have someone, you have to trade them. Let's talk about the possibilities of the Raiders trading up
To try to get
Murray?
Murray?
And get Kyler Murray with the tensions of Derek Carr and that whole
yeah,
situation.
I mean, Raiders are
escalating.
they're currently the 4th pick.
Right.
So they probably have to give up 2 of their picks in the first round. It's probably
And
4th
Derek Carr.
and Derek Carr.
And Derek Carr.
Right. So I wouldn't. That's kind
They're
of my
the
bet.
team. Yeah, they're the team that makes the most sense because they have the most picks to give away.
Exactly.
'Cause-
That's my
so,
bet. I bet
yeah.
you see Oakland send 2 picks and Derek Carr,
That'd be crazy.
That would be
and
insane.
they get.
But yeah, it's
Kyler
definitely a
Murray.
possibility.
Yeah.
Like I saw a stat the other day. Like I think last year's draft, only 14 of the picks were picked in their original spot. Like everyone knows, there were so many trades that happened.
And you-
Right.
Like I mean, I
That's
went through the
not
list
bad.
and I just
like
picked
that
guys.
a lot,
but
actually.
And not to mention, like the last 10 moves that the Raiders have made, have been planning for the future.
Inquiring
And I don't
picks.
think Derek Carr really fits that idea. Like I think this year was kind of his shot at possibly fitting the mold and working into.
Which is crazy because he looked so good 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think. Well, but that's when he was surrounded by some really talented.
I agree.
Talented players, and that's not to say he's not good unless he has talented players. But the last year especially, he didn't have much to choose
with.
from.
Well,
Yeah,
he
much
had,
to work with.
he had Amari Cooper. He gets traded to they're like, oh, Amari Cooper's just not doing well. Well,
Boom.
maybe it was Derek Carr because as soon as
Boom.
he went to Dak Prescott, who's not considered to be like,
the most mediocre
not-
quarterback.
yeah, I
Aaron
mean,
Rodgers,
he's considered to be an average. He's a game manager. He's smart, athletic, but
Yeah.
not considered to be a great quarterback.
That's I like that trade, Ado.
It's going to happen. I wouldn't be
like that a
surprised.
lot.
Also, with
surprise me.
Gruden at
Because
the
at
helm,
4, even Arizona can pick a stud. They can go defense.
Oh,
Quentin
absolutely.
Williams. They can
Right.
go Devin White inside linebacker. Like that. I like that. I like that a lot.
but to me, they're going after Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
If you know anything about John Gruden, you know that he wants the best player in the draft every draft, and maybe that's a ridiculous idea to have, but that's also what ends up working. It's either
80%
that
of the time.
idea or the
Well, why
or the
not go for
Patriots
broke?
idea.
Why not go for broke?
Yeah,
right?
you're not
I mean,
losing
it's the
anything.
NFL.
Well, the
Yeah.
Patriots
You
win
have
year
to.
after year, and who do they draft?
no one.
Don't worry, all
And the
right.
AFC West is just getting stronger and stronger. San
Right.
Diego and Kansas City. I mean, Broncos. We're gonna be all right.
I'm of the if John Elway can't draft a quarterback, no one can.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, and I don't
Quarterbacks are
think
so unpredictable.
exactly, and I don't really think you find a quarterback in the draft anymore. I mean, sure, you get a guy like Cam Newton, but look at what happened to Cam Newton. He's kind of crumbling. His career has kind of come to a crumbling
injuries
halt.
are.
Injuries, but that's based off his quarterback style.
It's a play style.
I think
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
last great quarterback that was drafted, in my opinion, was my boy Andrew Luck. Granted, he spent 2 seasons.
Are you talking
out.
like number one pick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
number
Yeah,
one pick.
A high
like,
pick, yeah.
like the dude's just a modeled quarterback. Like he's a modeled NFL
I
quarterback.
think he's just
like,
a great person
yeah.
too.
Do you
Yeah.
think this is the year that Andrew Luck finally?
Here's what's crazy about Andrew Luck is like last year was supposed to be his prove it year, and he proved it.
Yeah.
Oh,
If
yeah.
they give him a good cast, I mean,
Exactly.
he's gonna.
and they're like a solid.
why I asked the
They're one of the
question.
younger
Yeah.
teams in the NFL, and they made it to the divisional round last year.
so.
So yeah,
I
they
wouldn't
beat
mind
Houston.
if he won it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it at all.
I mean, obviously, I want the Broncos to win it more, but
Every year, over and over.
Right. So pick 2, San Francisco, Bosa.
That seems
Consensus.
to be the consensus number 2 pick.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I said Bosa
He's
or
an edge
Quinn
rusher?
Williams.
Yeah, defensive end from Ohio State.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about him sitting out because he was plagued with injuries his senior year at Ohio State, or his junior year? Sorry,
Sitting out this entire year.
he sat out
He
this
won't do
entire.
that.
No. So he sat out last year. Sorry, to
Oh.
prepare.
I
So
think
he
that's
was in
smart.
college.
His,
I mean-
his brother's already in the league, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
San
Yeah.
Diego or Los Angeles Chargers. Sorry.
I would say that's a smart move considering what I just said. His brother's already in the league, so he, as weird as it may seem, like I feel like that kind of holds some water when you're coming into the league. You know that like there's going to be some intrinsic value to this person based on his upbringing.
Yeah, and he has an example that's a
Exactly.
few years older than him
Stud,
that's going
right.
to show him like,
Who's a stud.
hey, bro, here's what I did.
I think it's really a smart move,
Yeah.
especially in today's NFL where you're like one, edge rushers are incredibly valuable right now. So if you take care of your body and you stay healthy, you can make a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
2, it's hard to stay healthy in the NFL. So you don't want to come into your first year, your rookie season of the hardest football you'll ever play in your life banged up.
Right.
Yeah.
So then this is a topic for another week, but with college players sitting out their majority of their upperclassmen seasons, does that maybe play a role in?
What do you mean by sitting out the majority of their upper, like the entire season,
Yeah.
or are you
A
talking
lot of
like
these
bowl
guys are
season?
starting to sit out their senior year.
Yeah, senior
Yeah.
year. So that poses the question: should the NCAA start paying these athletes? But that's not for this week.
I think the question it poses is should
Why
the,
aren't they
should the
paying?
NFL,
Exactly.
should the NFL open the draft earlier to younger
Earlier,
men?
yeah, because the NBA is going to do that soon in the next couple
As
years.
well
I
they
mean,
should.
But
Athletes are developing like sooner and sooner.
Crazy
these
fast,
days.
dude.
So, I mean, it might have made more sense
yeah,
15 years ago, even.
Right.
Now it's like these guys are coming in
Freaks
looking
of
like
nature.
30 years old at
Yeah.
18. So
It would also
of
make
nature.
more sense if degrees meant as much as they used to.
right. So we can talk about this another week. That's a question to
fine,
think
that's
about. Pick 3, New York Jets. I got them taking Josh Allen, outside linebacker, Kentucky.
I
see.
said Josh Allen or I said Montez Sweat.
But
Montez Sweat, I just found out today, was diagnosed with like some pre-existing heart conditions. So
a
how
lot
that
of
affects
teams
him, we shall see.
A lot of teams are taking him off the board, which is upsetting. But I have no idea. I'm obviously not a doctor. Or
Here's the
anything
thing,
like that,
though, guys.
But
Haskins at 3. Given what we just said, it's either going to be Kyler or Bosa, and 1 and 2.
You think the Jets,
Haskins-
who just got Darnold last year, would possibly get
wouldn't do it.
Haskins?
Yeah,
There's
they
no
wouldn't
way.
do it. Yeah,
That
Darnold's
either the
Jets.
Jets trade their pick for 2 in the first, later 2 in the first
Yeah.
round, or they draft probably a defensive lineman or an offensive.
Jets are one of the teams that, I mean, they have needs, but they don't have like a glaring need to where they need to put a third pick into it.
Well, it's like
Right.
the
And they
Reds,
could
the
get more
Redskins-
capital out of it.
The Redskins could use a backup quarterback.
They need a quarterback.
Yeah,
Alex Smith.
Yeah,
I
Alex
mean,
Smith, yeah.
he's having complications.
No,
with
it's
his
not even
injury.
right now. It's
Yeah, he might
Really?
not play again.
Wow, I
Who's,
didn't know that. So there you go. They need a quarterback.
Who's their starting quarterback right now? Guy from Texas, graduated. Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah, Colt McCoy.
The Seahawks might need. Did they end up offering
They did
Russell
pay
Wilson?
Russell Wilson.
Dude,
They
he got
paid him.
paid, dude.
serious.
Paid.
Does anybody know the
$35 million a year, 105. I want
He
to say
blinks,
guaranteed.
he gets $500, dude. So him and his wife are now the new power couple of North America. Are you kidding me?
So wait, what about his wife? Say that again.
They're the power couple because she's raking in all that dough, musically
oh.
and visually. She's
4
gifted.
years, $140 million. Is that right?
Yep.
Am I reading
$35
that?
million a year. What was the signing bonus?
$65 million signing bonus. What do you? Okay,
Total guarantee 107.
you make $65 million in a day
By signing your
in
name.
10 seconds.
By signing your name.
What do you do after?
I'm setting up everybody.
I bought
Everybody.
a boat, and then I paid my student loans.
There you go. Russell Wilson went to Stanford. Yeah.
He went
No,
to Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
He transferred
No,
from
NC State.
NC State. Yeah, you're right. He started
NC
at Wisconsin, then went to NC State.
NC State.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, one of the two.
One of the two.
Not cheap colleges though.
Yeah.
So
He's probably up there.
he's been in the league for
I'm
a
sure
while.
he's
for his
paid his student loans off.
Wisconsin, I win. Boom.
Oh,
So he
yeah.
started at NCAA
His
State.
guns,
I
his-
didn't
That's what
think he
I'm saying.
finished off at NC State.
Well, no wonder Russell Wilson came out like the widest black quarterback
Hey,
of all time.
dude.
He grew up and played.
He's
college
inspiration for
football.
me, dude. I'm the same height as that guy. He's making $65 million for not signing his name. Are
When
you
I
kidding
grow
me?
up, I want to be like Russell Wilson. So in 4 years, I hope I'm an NFL quarterback.
He's 30,
Yeah,
so there you go.
I almost nominated him. Because he got paid.
but you missed it out.
And then I looked, I just Googled, and I was like, oh, he's 30.
You know what's messed up too is he's only made $74 million so far.
He's on that rookie
Well, the
contract,
rookie
yeah.
deals, they last 4 years.
That was sarcasm.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Only $74 million.
That's it.
Darn. You
right.
know what? You've only paid me $74 million. Give me another 65 just to sign this piece of paper. Double.
Can you imagine that?
Doubled up.
Can you
on
imagine
contract.
having $65 million in front of you, and all you have to do is sign your name? I
then-
want that shit in cash.
and then the pen doesn't
I want
work?
my signing bonus in cash.
And then the pen doesn't work.
I'll stab my finger and then have my
Sign in
blood.
blood.
have my blood. I'm getting 65
Sell
mil.
my soul.
That's
Dude,
dedication.
no way. Okay, Oakland Raiders at 4. You think they're trading?
I think they're trading, so I think it'll
But
be
if they don't-
Arizona.
if they don't, Quentin Williams.
Quentin Williams.
Yeah, that dude's a tank.
Precisely.
Massive.
A tank, and he's like 20.
And I think that's who Arizona drafts if they keep that one.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. Tampa Bay at 5. It kills me to say this because this is who I want the Broncos to draft, but I think Devin White because he's just the best.
You think he's going to
linebacker.
go that early? 5?
Yeah, because Quan Alexander, they got rid of him, so they need the linebacker.
Fair enough.
They need something.
The Broncos should draft, I don't know when or where, but
Don't you say it?
Mac Wilson from Alabama.
Okay. I thought you were going to say a quarterback, and I was like, don't you?
Holy, never, I'll be on record right now that the Broncos should never, ever draft another
Can
quarterback.
we high five and let everybody hear the high five? Thank you.
Oh, man, you guys are going to be so mad at me.
I want you
In 5
guys.
picks. Just
I want you guys to watch this Mac Wilson highlight just for a second.
the fastest linebacker
Here-
in
and
college
that's
football.
exactly why. Because what have the Broncos been incapable of?
Fast linebackers.
Covering tight ends and
Yeah.
running backs.
Covering
out of
tight
the-
Well, as soon as
Fast linebacker.
As soon as who? Danny Trevathan.
Danny Trevathan. As soon
Who
as
is
they traded
a
him, he was
fast
out.
linebacker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coverage linebacker. That the defense fell apart.
I mean, Brandon Marshall had heart, but he just was not. He didn't have the speed.
Watch this guy.
All right. Where do you go to? Oh, Alabama. Okay.
Yes.
All
So
right. Bet, big buddy.
the fastest linebacker in college. I'm gonna skip all this.
When Ryan Shazier came out, he was considered to be like the fastest linebacker in college. So I mean, I wouldn't mind getting to watch this guy like that.
I don't know. Do you guys watch the national championship?
Yes, I did.
He's the guy who got the interception. Watch this dude.
Dude, he's lengthy.
And he's wearing number 30.
Yep.
He's lengthy. I like it. Is he a first round prospect? Or
I don't know. That's the thing is I obviously don't want him to go overvalue
Right.
and pick him in the first round if he's not a first round guy. But this is the type of player we need.
Yeah, I agree.
He's plays running back for Alabama on certain plays as well.
So who was the guy
Jesus.
that came out of Michigan a couple years ago? Jabril Peppers,
Yeah,
who was
Jabril
like
Peppers,
a linebacker
yes.
safety
Safety
hybrid.
Yeah.
It's very similar play style, except for I think Khalil Mack is more of a baller in terms of he'll go make a play on the ball and he'll go get the ball.
Or
Right.
Mac Wilson.
Mac Wilson, what is
It's like
that?
Khalil Mack. I was like, yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty dope.
Khalil Mack.
I wish we could draft him.
I
That'd be
meant
tight.
Mac Wilson, but yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, shit, dude. I mean, let me see.
What was that 5 already?
That
Yeah,
was
so we're on
5.
the Giants.
The Giants, Haskins,
Probably.
the
They have to,
stupid
right?
University in Ohio.
They have to. They have
Eli
to.
Manning.
The
This is it.
Ohio
This
State
is his
University.
last. This is it. This is his last year. I think his last hurrah. And I can't believe the GM went on record saying last year was Eli Manning's make or break year, and based off last year, they know that he has what it takes. It's like, dude, he got murked all last season.
That's what he said out loud.
Yeah, he said that.
Wow.
Yeah.
There were people there to see it and record it.
Someone recorded it and someone put it on a piece of
Chingona.
paper. But
That's not Chingon, I should say.
as I'm going down my first round mock draft, Ado, I do not see that gentleman.
I
in
don't
the
see
first
him
round.
either.
So I mean,
So we can get
Second
him round
round
2.
prospect.
we get second round.
Round 2. Who do you guys want the Broncos to get?
Are
Who do I want us to get?
Are we
Or who
skipping
do
all
I
these other
think they'll
teams?
get? No, let's just keep going. Jaguars. We're almost
Jaguars
there.
get
DK?
no. Ooh,
Are we on 7 now?
Yes, we're on
Okay.
7.
DK Metcalf. That would be sick.
The freak of nature. Here's the thing, though.
Hawkinson.
A lot of people don't see DK as even the best wide receiver in
Right.
the draft.
Right.
But I mean, when you go out and you put numbers up like that, it's kind of hard
dude's a
to.
freak.
Do
Freaking
the
nature.
Jaguars?
Jaguars.
Do
Yeah.
they need an offensive lineman, though? Is it safe to say they need some help on that O-line?
Big Dick Foles is there now, so so he's gonna need.
Daniel, we can curse on podcast.
Just crack me up. No, my mom listens. Hi, mom.
Sorry, Nick Foles. Nick Foles.
Well, Daniel's mom, that wasn't Daniel, that was Trent.
That was me.
You can call his mother.
My mom doesn't know what the internet is, so she's never going to listen to this, so it's fine. No, I think it's safe to say every team can draft an offensive lineman because
It's one of
outside
the
of like
safer picks.
outside
I mean,
of
not-
like 5 teams that are safe for their offensive linemen, I think Jacksonville can get Juwan Taylor out of Florida. I believe that's where he's from.
Yes.
DK Metcalf would be sick. Hawkinson would be sick. The tight end out of Iowa. I think. If you get Hawkinson, that's smart because longevity. I think he might.
Well,
yeah.
and Foles likes tight ends.
Yeah,
There you go. That's true.
I like Hawkinson, but if Hawkinson doesn't go to Jacksonville, he'll go to Detroit right after.
So, yeah, who do you got for Detroit then?
Detroit right now.
Rashawn Gary.
Rashawn Gary. I like Rashawn
Devin
Gary.
White.
Okay.
Linebacker.
Okay,
He's a stud.
I like it. I like it. Buffalo Bills at 9.
Jawan Taylor.
Juwan Taylor.
I mean,
Makes sense.
I got
have
a
Josh Allen
mock
there.
draft here that has the Falcons trading up to
Yeah,
get
who?
Ed Oliver with the 8th pick, defensive lineman.
From Houston.
I think
From
2 years
Houston.
ago, Ed Oliver was supposed to be like the can't miss prospect, and then like a lot of guys grow in college. He
Right.
did not grow,
Yeah.
and so he's considered a smaller defensive
Played
lineman.
this
But
draft scouting report says played over the center in college and regularly dominated, but will move to a 3 technique in the NFL. Where he'll have more opportunities to shoot the gaps and low center of gravity, nonstop motor, and unparalleled get off. That's kind of like
So if here's the center, is the 3 like
Yeah,
the song you
exactly.
yeah, they're going to put him right in the gap.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
basically.
Gotcha.
so
Okay.
he's going to come shooting gaps
Okay.
because he has a tremendous get off. Which
A lot of people are comparing him to Aaron Donald
wow,
Oh shit. Okay.
because Aaron Donald's considered a smaller defensive line. He's not this massive human being.
That's crazy
but
that you
he's
say that.
athletic.
Yeah.
6'2", 287. It's crazy to me that
That's
he's
small.
6'2".
How
is
funny is
small.
that? They're
That's small.
Hey guys, this guy's 6'2", 287. But
That's a
he's a
smaller
small
lineman.
defensive lineman.
Small
Blows my
lineman.
mind.
All right.
Our favorite,
The number 9 pick, Buffalo Bills.
No, number
No.
10.
number 10.
Oh, here
Denver
we go.
Broncos.
I told you already that I don't know who they should get with this one, but I know that they should not draft Drew Lock.
They should not draft Drew Lock.
Do
I
not
agree
waste
1,000,000%.
a pick on
John
a
Elway
quarterback.
loves him.
Good for John Elway. You know who else John Elway loved?
Super Bowls.
He also loved Paxton Lynch.
Super Bowls.
I love Super Bowls too, John.
He also loved, you know,
He loved Paxton Lynch.
He loved Paxton.
Is that
Lynch.
enough?
Yeah.
Isn't that enough for us to move
I'm
on?
convinced that John Elway just wants to always be the best quarterback the Broncos ever had.
That is, I've heard that. I hate that. That makes me so mad because it's like, why would the guy wants to be the greatest GM now? What do you mean? He's trying to win.
Yeah,
period.
not Drew Lock. If Drew Lock is drafted, I will scream, and
whole
and
point-
pout like a little baby.
What would you think of
whole
T.J.
point-
Hawkinson?
I love T.J. Hawkinson. Literally anybody. I want to say best available. I wouldn't mind Juwan Taylor. I wouldn't mind Hawkinson. I wouldn't mind Devin Bush. Yeah, Bush or White.
I would say White.
Yeah, or Bush. If like I want best available, whatever's going to help us.
Here's the thing: we got Joe Flacco at a discount for a reason.
Yes.
and it's so that we could load up on defense.
Exactly.
'Cause that's what wins
Exactly.
Super Bowls.
Exactly.
We should go back to the well. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
No, yeah.
Look at how we won Super Bowl 50.
I was going to say, look at the Super Bowl
Boom.
season. Look at the Super Bowl season that we
Statistically,
won.
the worst quarterback to ever win the Super Bowl was Peyton Manning the
Which
year we
is
won.
crazy.
Which is crazy.
God.
Worse,
Yeah.
statistically worse than Tim Tebow the year before.
And Joe Flacco wasn't having a bad year last year. Then he got freaking hurt. And then
Yeah,
it
he
just
got
so
hurt.
happened the stars aligned where we have this stud rookie quarterback on the bench. He gets hurt. Let's just put him in.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. Remember when the Broncos signed Manning? People were like, "Can he even throw the ball?" Like it's the same. It's the same.
Flacco could bomb it.
Exactly.
And that, then that mile
I just
high.
want to say
And-
I'll forever be
Man.
mad at Joe Flacco because I was at that game.
Yeah, don't be mad at Joe Flacco. Be mad at Raheem the Dream Moore. That's who you're mad at, and you know it's true.
That's another
mad
topic.
at both of them.
All right,
Joe
boys,
Flacco would just throw it
11.
yards shorter.
let's go on to the next one. Let's just do
11.
the top 10 there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's move on to the next.
I actually like
topic
that because
here.
everything, like I said earlier, everything after the top 10 is so debatable.
11 to 32
Those
is just
top
crazy.
10 is where those guys need to make plays. They need to get their
They would
guys
never have one of those
after that.
contests like they
It's not
do
a
for the
big deal.
NCAA, like guess the first round of the draft because there's too many variables,
Traits.
right? Yeah, okay.
Before we move on, though, I do want to ask: do you guys think that the NFL should ever put in place like a draft lottery, like the NHL and the
No.
NBA do?
No,
You don't like that?
no, I
format?
hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, as an Avalanche fan, I'm not.
I
a
hated
fan.
it before that. I hate it's
That's
just
I
tough.
hated it before we were the butt of it.
yeah.
That's tough because they say the lottery prevents teams from tanking, right?
But the
That's
reason
or-
they say that is
Okay.
because there's like 80 something games. There's 80 games for hockey. There's 160 games for baseball.
Yeah.
There's all these. That's
Oh, there's
why
like-
they say that.
okay.
Because you can
Short
tank.
answer: no.
Yeah.
Short answer, no.
Okay. I'm going to let you finish in a minute. No.
All right.
Because
Okay.
Cardinals were without a doubt the worst team last
Okay,
year. So
okay.
they deserve the
That's
number
true,
one pick.
and that's how
Alright,
you
bet.
keep the balance. I agree.
That's a big time bet.
So
Nothing should
let's
be.
move on today, boys. It's 4:20 something. Huh? See what I did there?
Finish him.
Something. So we're gonna talk a little bit about marijuana. I guess you had to not be there to get that joke.
he goes to punch us and we're not even paying attention. Guys.
I'm looking for some laughter, getting none of it. I guess I'm the only
I
one
love
who's
it. No, I
smoking
love it.
today. So yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about the pretty much mind-blowing fact that marijuana is not federally legal currently.
Yes.
I want to touch on my 20-something MVP, and I'm going to put an asterisk on mine because I'm not exactly sure how old he was. But
He might be 30.
he may have been 22, he may have been 30-something, but yeah,
Oh, Miles,
my
man.
MVP vote goes to Miles, my former drug dealer when it was,
How long ago was this?
marijuana was still legal. I would say probably about 6 or when did it become legal? 2011? Something like that?
2013.
Oh, see,
2013.
well, I was smoking it in 11, so
Same.
So about 2011.
Okay.
So how was that? Like 7 years?
That's when we
8
were still in
years?
high school.
I smoked a lot too, so I can't do math.
It's a holiday, guys. Give me a break.
So
Okay.
yeah, the reason why he's my MVP is because the guy sold it when it was illegal. He's really putting himself on the line
Yeah.
just to bring me the fun stuff.
And to support his.
He would put miles in, and it was not nobody putting money up for those said miles. He was just selling me weed. It wasn't like, here's $100 worth of weed plus give me $40 for the
Right.
gas. No, he was just like, here's $100 worth of weed.
Do you guys
Thanks.
think he wrote that off on his taxes?
Yeah.
His miles driven? Yeah, I want 50 cents a mile for this.
Yeah, exactly.
For
You know,
imports,
he
exports,
could-
business.
He could literally have gone to prison, and it was all just so that I could get a vice, you know?
Yeah.
So I commend the man. I also think it was cool that he was the kind of drug dealer that when you pulled up next to you, you felt like you were doing a drug deal. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't feel like you were hanging out with someone. Like, he pulled up next to you and you were like, damn, I'm hood as shit right now.
Don't say anything out of line right now,
Yeah.
because I don't know if he's holding.
Exactly. Like,
Can I tell you a funny
throw a
story?
flag to push me back 10 yards because I'm holding. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like.
So, a quick funny story on that topic with a drug deal, feeling like a drug deal. A few buddies and myself went to watch a movie, Kick-Ass 2.
Nice. Good movie.
After the movie is over, you know, we're just like, all right, what are we going to do now? My buddy's like, yo, we got to stop at Walmart. Give me a minute. I was like, okay, cool. So we park in the back area of this parking lot. I was like, all right, this is sketchy. Like, what's he getting? And none of us got out of the car. He parked. None of us got out of the car. I was like, what are we doing? Oh, I'm getting some weed. And I was
Nice.
like, what? Sure. As he finishes that sentence, a sketchy ass car just pulls up next to us.
Yeah.
No words were said. Literally exchange. Gets him back in the car. All right, guys, where are we gonna go? I was like, I'm not going fucking anywhere with you. I want to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
So that being said, although he is my MVP, I'm very, very glad and very fortunate that the Colorado voters in 2013 chose to legalize it recreationally because I've taken full advantage
I like your
of said
MVP.
law.
I will say one thing. I wish we weren't the first ones.
Well, can you?
Because it brought so many people here. I
Right.
don't have a problem with it,
I
but
would
like,
say that.
I mean, if
People
even if
here
they
to
would have waited
Pueblo
3 more
or to
years,
Colorado?
to Colorado,
Yeah,
even if they
just
would
to
have waited a
Colorado.
few more years,
Here's the thing, though. It's a competitive environment, so it's just like any other trade,
yeah,
like any other
but
commodity.
prices just went up for everything in the state because a lot of people moved
especially real estate.
Real
Especially
estate
real
for
estate.
sure.
here. If I'd have been graduated, oh yeah, I'm not for it.
Did
We
now
bought a house
with
right
that
for
being
it.
with that being legal.
It's sick, right?
With I guess it's in Pueblo, or I guess if it's everywhere. The sales, the amount of money they get for sales, doesn't that get put back into the community in terms of like
sales tax is one of the highest taxes that we pay. I think that's a great question, but all of that money goes back into to education.
education?
actually.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Pueblo
Which is cool.
system.
Which is awesome.
Not as much as they had promised. Though.
Okay,
mean-
but I feel like they got to make it sound better on the bill, so
But
more people.
only not as much as they promised because, well, actually, it's more than what they promised. Not the same percentage that they promised, but only because they made a fuck ton
Yeah,
more
I
than
mean
they
the amount of
expected.
money that
Anticipated,
came
yeah.
into the community
Yeah.
was insane.
Look
I
at
got a question, Ado.
yes.
Before it was legalized versus post with taxes, are you paying more or are you paying less?
Oh, I'm paying double.
Really?
It's the 15% state tax, and then you have a county tax. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you're looking at anywhere from 30 to 40% taxes.
Yeah, I was just curious. I mean, I
And
know
I have,
nothing about it.
here's the
so-
thing, like, I mean, I'm sure our listeners will learn this over time, but I'm very much a social construct person when it comes to how I think our society should operate. And I, as someone who really enjoys marijuana and also as someone who really enjoys money, I don't have any problem with paying more money for my marijuana just so that I don't have to make a drug deal.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Put yourself out there.
That's way more
It's like your
convenient
drug
to
deal
me.
tax. Like now you
When I
you
go,
don't have to worry
here's
about
the thing
that.
that people, if you've never been to a recreational marijuana store, you should. You guys have not?
No.
I'm not.
Oh, we're going.
Oh, I'm down. No, I'm so
Right
down.
after this, we're gonna go.
Mom, no, I'm not.
The first thing you'll notice, they ask for your ID, right? Before you even walk in, they say, "Let me see your ID."
Got that.
Got that? You said you had him.
Best part, I mean, most liquor stores don't do that.
Right? Exactly. So it's a guy, and not to mention, this is a guy with a gun that's visible. So he's like, "Show me your ID." Like,
Oh yeah,
even
I
if-
really want to go now.
Yeah. No, so you give him your ID, he gives it back to you. You get in there, they ask you, what do you want today? It's like any other store. And most of the time I go in there, I like to buy flour, which is like bud.
Okay.
And so you tell them what you want. When you go to buy it, they ask you for the place I go, they ask you for your phone number. So there's like a rewards program.
Damn.
So I'm stacking points. And then right before they sell it to you, they make you show your ID again.
Damn.
And they say that you have to show your ID for the cameras. So
Oh.
they, as a state regulation, they have to turn security footage into the state to be observed to be sure that people are ID'd twice.
Okay.
Now, this is a great segue. Let's segue into how we treat
Could you
purchase
imagine
of liquor and
exactly?
alcohol.
Could you imagine if every liquor store was the same way?
Pain in the ass.
I mean, but I mean, that's how it should
There's
be.
drive-through.
Right? It's not. How inconvenient is it for you
There's
to
a
go there
drive-
and show your
If
ID
there
twice?
should be a drive-through anything, it should be a drive-through marijuana store, not a drive-through liquor store.
I picture a dispensary looking like Taffy's. Is it similar? Like you
Kinda,
have your
with all the
display-
jars everywhere.
Jars. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Pick this candy. You could have this candy.
What's this one make me do? What's
when
that
I
one
walk
make me do?
when I walk in, I do feel like a kid in a candy store.
And they have everything, right? The edibles, they have
Oh, yeah.
flour, they have a bunch of like accessories and stuff.
Right. So
Yeah.
here's the thing, with marijuana as it relates to the sale and use of alcohol. I, for one, obviously I'm going to tell you that I'm a huge advocate for the use of marijuana. I'm a huge advocate for not drinking also because I mean, I'm the pot calling the kettle black because I drink a lot of beer. But I in the fact that I drink a lot of beer, I know it's not good for me. Like when I wake up after I've drank a lot of beer, I feel like I poisoned myself because
You did.
I did. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I did, right?
You're intoxicated.
When you smoke too much weed, you fall asleep and you wake up and you feel like you poisoned yourself, but not in the same way. You feel like a dog that got into the wrong plant. And just
That's one way.
and just woke up from the greatest nap of your life.
do you have different dreams? Like when you go to bed when you're drunk, do you dream differently than when you
When I go to bed when I'm drunk, it's like I black out and sleep. Like
Okay.
I don't remember. I don't have dreams. I don't remember dreams. When I
You just wake up 4 hours later, really thirsty.
Yeah, exactly like
Yeah.
SpongeBob. Water.
What are they selling?
Exactly.
Sorry, I had to do it. They're selling marijuana.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just think it's really gross reality of the way the pharmaceutical world has its grips on America.
Oh, absolutely.
The fact that alcohol is federally legal and marijuana is federally illegal is a testament to control of substances and the control of a market. Because if marijuana became legal, more importantly, if CBD...
You wouldn't see as much money.
Exactly. If CBD, high-grade CBD, which is being found to be somewhat of a cure-all for a lot of neurological
Yeah.
ailments.
Yep.
If that became legal and you could grow it in your backyard, pharmaceutical companies would be out millions and millions and
Right.
millions.
And then in turn, the government would be out millions and millions.
And then we went to Afghanistan for no reason,
How
which is a really scary.
How about this question? Do you think? So this is. I'm just kind of basing this off my personal view. So there was a time where I completely was against marijuana, absolutely against
Same.
it. But the more research that I did, the more that I looked into it, and I'm not gonna lie, I've tried it a couple times. And
No, you haven't.
Yeah, you're right. I haven't. Dan's mom, I haven't. Okay.
Dan's mom.
The side effects that I got from that are complete opposite of what I do from drinking. But do you think that does people need to be more informed? Like, which is
anytime
crazy.
you ingest something, you should know what you're doing.
Right, right. Which is crazy.
That's the truth for food, for what you're drinking. Here's one thing for sure. I smoke weed every day, but I'll be the first to tell you that probably smoking anything, putting smoke of any kind, smoke in itself probably carries carcinogens, no matter what part of what plant or whatever material it's coming from.
Yeah.
That's probably harmful to my respiratory system.
Okay.
I'll probably run into some issues. Hopefully not. Obviously some people smoke their whole lives.
I mean, you think about it though, like how much do you smoke compared to a chain smoker?
Oh, well,
That's what I mean. Like chain
if I'm
smokers,
being
they can
honest
go
with
through
you,
a
it's
pack.
probably pretty close. I'm serious. It's probably I'll probably in a day smoke like 4 or 5 joints.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot longer to smoke a joint than it does a cigarette. And what I do is I split them up. So like I'll smoke half a joint, then I'll go back and smoke the other half, then I'll go back and smoke the other half. So it's more like I'm smoking like 10 times, 12 times a day. So
At one point, you smoked cigarettes too, right?
I did, but I quit once I started quitting was a lot easier once I started smoking.
So it wasn't where you were doing both. Were you ever doing both at one point?
I actually started smoking cigarettes before I smoked weed.
Okay.
And then I started smoking weed when I graduated from high school and I moved into my first college.
Oh, I remember the setup.
Bad.
I remember the setup. That was tight.
Yeah.
And,
okay. I started smoking, and then gradually, as I smoked more weed, I smoked less cigarettes.
Okay.
Which was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, cigarettes are just, I don't like cigarettes at all. That
Yeah.
it just burns. Just
Yeah.
being around it just burns
Yeah.
versus like being around somebody who's smoking weed. I don't like the smell.
Yeah.
That's basically my biggest complaint is like,
Yeah.
oh, that stinks. But like,
But
cigarettes burn. Just
Yeah.
absolutely just
Yeah.
burn you.
did you guys know the human body has what's called the endocannabinoid system? And it's basically like your endocrine system. It's a I'm reading from Wikipedia, so don't get me twisted. It's a biological system composed of endocannabinoids, which are indigenous. How do you say that?
Endogenous.
Endogenous lipid-based retrograde neurotransmitters that bind to cannabinoid receptors and cannabinoid receptor proteins that are expressed throughout the vertebrae central nervous system. So basically, our bodies are made to take cannabinoids, which is a substance that you ingest as a result of smoking THC or any kind of cannabis plant. And not only that, but our bodies make cannabinoids already inside. So like,
There's your science lesson for the day, guys.
seriously.
there's nothing in your body that's like you should drink alcohol. There is something
Yeah.
there is something chemically and biologically in your body that says you should be ingesting CBD or some sort of cannabis. That's pretty.
Is there anything else that has cannabinoids in it besides like THC and
CBD is a non-psychoactive form of it. So like you're not going to feel high.
that's like the oils,
I
right?
use
Yeah.
that stuff for like body joints and stuff
And
like
what's
that.
crazy about CBD is it not only goes for your neurological pathways so that you stop like sensing pain through that the wire works of your brain, but it also sends white blood cells to the source of the pain, so it heals while disguising. So like like painkillers now usually just attack your neurotransmitters until your brain is like, your pain's still there, but your brain stops telling you basically.
Yeah.
It throws up a veil. But like with CBD, it throws up that veil and it actually heals the source of the pain.
Got to say one thing about when they made marijuana legal is it kind of really pushed a lot of the medicine
Yeah.
to the forefront.
Yeah.
Like you didn't hear about this
Right.
before.
No, you
Or
wouldn't,
athletes.
because
Yeah.
well, look at
It was so
CC
taboo.
Pueblo.
The
they
scholarship, right?
They have a whole school dedicated to studying marijuana and different types of. They're studying its economic effects on the state. They're studying things like this, so it's
I
really
think
cool.
the CBD side of it is incredible because as an athlete in high school and college, I would refer to taking Aleve or Advil or Tylenol after a practice or game.
harmful to your.
It's so harmful, so
Especially, like, your
harmful. So
liver.
yeah, so and I think now that it's legal in more states, more and more athletes, pro athletes, either currently playing or retired, are coming out and saying like, we should definitely.
Well, not to mention, like we alluded to earlier, it's benefits for neurological things. Like you want to talk about CTE. One of the things that a lot of hockey players have testified to or made a testimonial towards is that marijuana has helped them with some of the symptoms of CTE.
Absolutely.
Which, like, I don't know if you've heard a lot about the symptoms of CTE, but that's like a walking nightmare. You walk into a room, you don't remember why you went there. I do that already, but imagine doing that all day long.
changes.
Yeah.
Being super happy and then being super pissed for no reason.
Well, that movie with Will Smith, Concussion, was
Exactly,
watching that movie was a flipping nightmare. Almost.
So anything we can
Like,
do, and not to mention that, like, people with PTSD are saying that CBD and marijuana are really helping them with their side effects. People who come back from war, that's the biggest thing to me is like, if we care about our people here in America, and we won't make one of the things that's pretty obviously helping the part of the body of people that need the most help, in my opinion, which are veterans. Why is it something that's so hard for them to get? Why do they have to move somewhere to get that kind of treatment? You know, it should be federally legal, and if it's not federally legal, it should be legal for people who've served in our military to take on the benefits
So
of it.
literally laid their lives in the line.
Yeah.
Like,
So you mean to tell me I can go die for this country, but I can't come back and feel all right? Mm-hmm. That's a pretty messed up thing.
I like this topic. This topic was good. This was fun.
So yeah, let's move on a little
Definitely
bit.
eye-opening.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you guys were probably expecting a lot more.
I'm not gonna lie, when I saw
Cannabinoids. No, just kidding. It was fun. It was
the name
fun.
of the topic was pot, and more pot. And so I was like, oh, he's just gonna talk about smoking. But no, I mean, it was eye-opening. I'm glad we talked about
One of
it.
your I mean, we can all agree that one of our favorite movies that we've ever watched has weed references in it.
Pineapple Express.
Pineapple Express, Dazed and Confused. Like, come on.
Exactly.
Come
Great
on.
movies.
All
So,
right.
what are we talking about? Oh, good and bad of social media.
This is
Daniel put in the notes, does this work for you guys? And then I put in the notes, yes. So
amazing
talk about
topic.
it.
An amazing topic.
I like it.
And the reason I put does it work for you guys is because this is a topic we can talk about for a longer period of time than the 5-10 minutes we typically allot.
Yeah.
So
That's good. Social media. We were in high school when Facebook came out. Freshman year?
yeah, so I think we were like 7th, 8th grade when MySpace first became a thing.
MySpace
that was
was
like
a thing.
the door for a lot of us.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, so
dude.
people tend to forget that like MySpace was the door for a lot of us.
Oh yeah, especially like kids our age. I remember MySpace was the first thing I had. Dude, MySpace also was so sick.
What was your guys' song on your
Put your-
profile?
oh, I
One
had
of your
a
songs.
You?
I don't remember.
I think one of mine was "Now she came in and she got me red and it keep it with the girl next door."
Yep. I think mine was like a 3 Doors Down song or some
Yeah, there
shit,
you go,
dude.
yeah.
And you had top friends, and you were always switching the top friends.
Do you remember when
from
they
the
first
top
had
20.
8 and then
Yeah.
they made it like, oh, you could have 20, and like some people will fill out all 20.
Everybody.
Like, okay.
And the family
Do
was
all of them
usually
really
first.
like you?
Right.
And
Your
you're
family
really-
members were usually first. I used to comment on a lot of people's
Chicks
profile.
used to fight over that shit in middle school. Like, bitch, why ain't I in your top 4? And you're like, what?
Dude, those are my 3 sisters. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, nah, you can
She
change
took me out of her top 8, and we are thrilled.
Or you can go on somebody like, hey, I think they're dating, guys. Let's go look. Oh, yeah.
Yo,
that's their
low-key,
number one
though.
friend. That's their number one friend. They're
Low-key,
definitely dating.
too. We were all kind of computer programmers. Because remember when
Yeah.
you wanted to
You could go into a
design our
website,
profile.
copy, paste.
Hey, dude. Copy, paste after this line. You had music. You had your profile layout. Dude, we
There
were
was some
little
script. You had to copy and paste some
Yeah,
script.
we
and
were
throw it
fucking
in.
ballers, dude. We were ballers,
Yeah,
and here comes Facebook.
I'm like 90% sure I had a picture of Clint Portis stiff arming somebody.
Yeah, we definitely
mine?
had like Bronco ones.
Yeah.
I remember we both had.
That's
a
when I
Bronco.
played soccer, and I had a large soccer ball smashing a car. That was like that was my profile picture, or like
And
something
then,
like that.
and then I remember my like older brother and like my cousins and stuff were like, "Are you on Facebook? Like Facebook is so cool." And I remember being like, "What the fuck is this Facebook thing?" Everybody was talking about a wall, and like I was like, "Did you see that shit on her wall?" And I was like, "This sounds stupid." I was behind the wave. Like I didn't really join into.
I think I made a
from the
Facebook
jump.
account. I want to say sophomore year of high school.
I think mine was
That was in, like, what?
summer in between freshman and sophomore
Should have
year.
been like what 2009. So 2009. So
Yeah.
10 plus years ago.
But how crazy is it now? Just think about it. Remember, as soon as you open Facebook, it would tell you how many users were online. And like when we
Yeah.
were around, it was I'm guesstimating. I want to say maybe it was probably like
a couple 100,000
couple,
maybe.
no, yeah, probably a couple 100,000, honestly. And it was always that red number, and you had your login info and your red number. And every time you logged on, the red number would just get bigger and bigger and bigger. That was how many users. And it was just like, damn, this is pretty tight. But it was more mature than MySpace, so that's what took me so long
Yeah.
to get used to it.
You guys
Because
remember
Yeah.
Messenger?
yeah, MSN Messenger,
AIM.
AIM.
I remember Messenger was the first time I ever told a girl that I should not have told that I loved her. That I loved her.
Party Chat, or no, what was that one website where you can just go chat with random people?
Oh God.
And
You're going
remember
down a rabbit hole.
Dude, ASL, remember ASL?
what was
Asking
that
somebody for
called?
ASL,
Yeah.
age, text, and location. And you'd be like, 16 male, Colorado.
What was the one where you could like hit a button and it was like roulette of cat?
Chat roulette.
Chat
roulette.
Chat roulette.
That was a dangerous game.
Dude, you just play marry one, fuck one, kill one. And you just have you and your two buddies.
You and your two
And
Yeah,
we did that shit for hours. We did that shit for
we
hours.
did do that.
Everyone would be like, you ready to clip break? No. Wait, real quick. Marry one, fuck one, kill one, go. And
They're like, marry that one.
they look really close at their screens. Their eyes are
hated
squinting.
that game.
What kind of shirt are you
They
wearing?
always killed me.
No, dude, when you picked up the ukulele,
Here
it was
lies
tight, man.
Daniel.
It was tight.
Oh God, the ukulele video. Let's talk about that.
Dude, but it's crazy how far all this shit's come. And
I
it's
would say that's a good part
Yeah.
of social media is that we all have memories of
Yeah.
Oh
its
yeah.
genesis.
Especially when it was first. Like we all have memories of when it was first a thing. And like, we didn't grow up with social media. It was a thing that came when we were in high school. I mean, I guess you could say we grew up with social media, but not really compared to the kids nowadays where, I mean, they're like something
making
Facebook
our first
profiles
iPhone was alive before kids.
Dude, there's a 7-year-old kid on YouTube making $25 million a year just from reviewing toys. He opens a box and says,
Let's
"This is
talk
time."
about
I think
money.
There's another positive
Yeah.
I think that comes from social media is it's like become lucrative for
So I don't wanna-
everyday people.
I don't want to speak for you guys, but another question for social media. Did you guys ever get like the negative sides of social media? Were you guys ever bullied online or anything like that? And I think
I would say no.
I'd say people have tried, but
Yeah, people try, but I mean,
like cyberbullying, because that's
Yeah.
huge. That's definitely huge. And I think I credit that just to you guys that I just grew up with in high school. I was pretty much just friends with you. I didn't really friend a lot of people on Facebook. Like now I probably have 700 friend requests that I just haven't really looked at because I don't really know them. But
yeah, I mean, and everybody thinks of social media as, the Facebooks, the Twitters where you interact. But to me, I kind of count social media as even like Xbox Live.
Oh, yeah.
Would be considered. I mean, you
chat.
have a friends list. You get in there, you talk to people, you
Chat.
message people. It's just another way to, but you're playing games.
well, then if you say that, then I definitely partook in some online cyberbullying. But
For
I
sure.
was
Oh, but
bullying
here's
the
the-
other team.
I'm gonna preface what I'm about to say because we live in the era of Ado says something, people post it all over the internet and he gets in trouble for saying it. But I don't condone bullying of any kind. That being said, if you're being bullied, you have something to learn. And that is, you should not let anything that anyone can say or do get into your psyche so much that it would stop you from being who you really are.
I like it.
And that's a choice that you can make. No matter how shitty someone is to you, you can still say, like, dude, I don't care.
Yep.
Here's how you stop cyberbullying. You turn off your phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just look away.
Yep.
It's as simple as that.
Yep.
And not to be crass, but the old saying goes, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Like Twitter and Facebook, these are domains for ideas and for opinions. If you think that Facebook and Twitter are platforms for people to agree with what you have to say, you're naive as shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
So
I mean, you're going to get absolutely roasted. Anywhere you go.
You put something out there, but that's the beauty of life. And that's the thing that I think we're losing sight of these days, which is unfortunate, but I think some of us are coming back around to it. And it's that, like, our consequences are bad. The bad things in our lives are what harden us. They're what set us apart from other people.
Yeah.
Those aren't we shouldn't be trying to change our lives so that nothing bad ever happens. That's impossible. What we should be starting to do is train ourselves to respond to negativity in a way that's proactive and in a way that's beneficial to not only yourself, but to your family and your society.
Absolutely.
I mean, one of my favorite things about the whole social media is that you can spread positivity so much better. Like the self-love, the body positivity, like those are all huge. I mean, that's a huge part of a lot of people's lives. They sit there and they look at it themselves in the mirror and they're like, oh, I hate the way I look. But if they were to put a picture on social media and everybody's like, oh, you look beautiful, you look amazing, and you're like, I feel so much better now. Like,
which that maybe that's
fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's like synthetic soothing. Like, I don't think you should feel good because people like your post or say you're pretty. Like, to me, that's synthetic. That's like trying to create a feeling that you should already have.
I mean, it is
from
dangerous
yourself.
because, I mean, some people become
Get
dependent
addicted
on
to
it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the dangerous side, but at the same time...
And would you agree that the people that become addicted to it are the ones that are super loud on social media,
Yes.
but when you see them in person, they're
Oh,
quiet?
that's a great point. I mean, the
There's
people...
two different personalities.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
people forget how to socialize because of social
That's
media.
maybe one of the negatives.
That's one of the negatives. And you see it a lot, I guess, especially with our group, like our age range, 24 to 27-ish, because we're still in that period where we were new to Facebook. We pretty much saw Twitter be born. We saw Instagram be born. So we saw this all take off. But I don't know how many people, like out of all of my friends and followers or whatever, that posting something every day on Twitter, tweeting something, they're posting pictures of this and that, and you see them out and about, not even at like a party setting, you just see them out and you go up and say hi to them, they shut you out right away. It's just like, what?
Much less like talk to you on social media, like reach out to you, you know, tweet, you know, comment on your stuff, and then you see them in like person, and they're like ghost you. It's like, hold on a second.
I mean, all three of us, I feel like we're very similar to the way we handle social media. Like, we're not big posters.
No,
I read probably
use it as a
something
tool.
every single day. Exactly, like we talked about last week. You use it as a way
It's
to
the
get your
marketing
news.
tool for me.
And to me, one of my favorite things about it is that when you have people all over the world like that can connect in one little domain, that's pretty cool. I mean, I have an uncle that lives in Hawaii. I have family that lives in California, and I could talk to them, but with the click of a button. And
yeah,
it's amazing.
One of the notes I have, and I told you guys before the show, is that I think the internet and social media is a wrench being used as a hammer, and I think that's what you're speaking towards. Is like, here we have this machine, this piece of technology connected to machines, that has a platform with access to over 1 billion people. If you're talking about Facebook.
Yeah. Facebook alone, 1 billion
people. Now, talk about what that means for social justice reform. Let's talk about what that means for esports and people making money. In terms of social justice reform, we got body cameras. If you're a police officer and you do something that is even in the slightest bit considered possibly heinous, like, you're going to be brought to the forefront.
Yeah.
And whether or not, you know, I do think that we need to do more to hold those officers who use their weapons more accountable.
Oh, absolutely.
But I will also say that if you know you have a camera on, how dumb do you
That's
have
what blows
to be?
my mind is like they literally know, like, hey, I went to work this morning. I put on this camera. Oh, here's this guy. I'm going to beat the crap out of him on this camera. Like, how do you not sit there and think, like, hey, maybe I should not do this. Maybe I should be a better person.
And then on top of that, I know we promised we weren't going to talk about politics, but this is kind of on this. We're touching a little bit on politics, but, you know, we're asked to be citizens are asked to be the ones that have composure. Does that make sense? Like, that modus of control somewhere along the line has shifted to where, like, when we see a video like that comes out, half of the people say, well, dumbass shouldn't have been doing anything illegal.
Yeah.
And that's where it ends, and that's where it begins and ends for those
He should have
people.
put his hands up. He should have kept his hands up the entire time.
Exactly.
Dude, he was getting the crap beat out of him. How was he going to keep his hands up?
Exactly. And then on the polar opposite side, it's like, no, that cop's like a piece of shit. You shouldn't beat the hell out of
It
someone.
highlights both sides.
So, yeah, exactly. And my whole thing is definitely the right answer is somewhere in between. And if anyone should have expertise, it should be the police. I shouldn't be the one that knows how to de-escalate the situation.
And what's crazy, those guys
cop
go through
should.
so much training to be able to handle those situations, and yet some of them just completely forget about it when it comes down to the nitty-gritty.
Which is where I'll leave it at this. We want to talk about vetting immigrants. Let's do a better job of vetting police officers too.
Yep.
Fair enough. Yep. Let's make sure the people who are set out to serve and protect our community are truly set out to do that.
I mean,
that's not too much.
The worst part about it is like you get there's bad cops and there's amazing cops.
Yeah.
And there's probably more amazing cops than there are bad cops.
Yeah.
But the way
all
that
it takes,
and this is a con of social media, right? Is that the negative gets blown up 1 billion%. Like you sometimes you see the feel good stories of like, oh, this cop went out of his way. Like it's funny because the bad videos are like, oh, this cop beat the crap out of somebody, but the good videos are, hey, this cop helped a dog across the street. Yeah. Like that's the stuff that people see more often than the greater deeds that they do.
Don't you find it ironic that cops are like, don't paint me with the broad stroke of a brush? Now the cops are the ones saying that, which is hilarious because brown people in America have been saying that for decades to the police. They've been saying that to the police. They say, yes, there are some of us who are bad. There are some of us who commit crimes, but not all of us. Yeah. And I find it to be ironic as all hell that that's the rhetoric that police officers are using now. Yeah. We're not all bad police officers. We're not all criminals. So with that being said, let's find some common ground in that. Yeah. And I think social media, to get back to our topic, is a great platform for finding that common ground. Like Daniel says, let's highlight more of the good things about what we provide, and let's not focus so much. Obviously, we need to know about things, but
people waste so much energy picking out the bad.
Yeah.
You know, being negative, like that's so much energy wasted. You know, just self-love. You type in self-love, you take a picture of yourself. That's so easy. And
Did you watch the Kevin Hart with Joe Rogan podcast?
Yeah.
Kevin Hart's message in that was phenomenal, right? Like, he's like, stop surrounding yourself with negative people. You should be around positivity at all times. Like, the more around positivity you are, the more positive you become. And like, that's a big problem with social media, is that like it just drives negative.
And don't get me wrong, like, life in itself is not all free bubble love and rainbow.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, you should be.
There's good and there's bad.
You should be getting you should know what's happening, but at the same time, you should know how to react to something that's negative and learn from it rather than share it and revel.
Yeah.
That's what people need to do.
They like to dwell in it. If something bad happens, they're like, oh, guys, here's what happened to me today. Please feel bad for me. It's like, no, how about you just forget about it and you move on. You talk about the positive, because that's what's going to keep you going.
So who's your MVP then? If you're going to go social media, are we going to go back to
No,
the past?
he has his MVP.
I have my MVP.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mac Miller.
My bad.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Well, here's great. This is a great segue. Mac Miller made music from when he was 16 years old to the regrettable day he passed, and it has everything to do with social media.
Was he making YouTube videos or something?
Yeah, he was an independent artist.
Yeah.
He made his own music with Germ, who made his beats, his producer, and he shared all of his music on social media.
Yeah.
He got a grassroots following. That's what allowed him to stay independent. So till really later on in his career. Basically, this dude was a self-made musician, and I remember being younger and being obsessed with the fact that he did what he did. When I lived in that first building, that first college apartment I was just talking about, in my closet I made a studio. It was my
I remember
first-
that.
Yeah,
Oh, that
was
studio
sweet.
was so cool.
That was
It was
dope.
my first closet studio.
That was sweet.
And he was a huge inspiration for me in that he didn't need anyone else.
Right.
He was like, you know what? I know what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. And social media just so happens to be the platform that kind of gave him, like I told you guys,
it was able to raise him up, and he was able to gain a following. And like, the best part is, like, a long time ago, it used to be about who you knew, right?
Right.
And now it's like you're a lot more of what you know or how you do, and your talent can come out, because it's so much. It's like, there's a lot of people that are missed because of how saturated like YouTube and all that stuff is, but the talent's going to come out.
Right.
The talent's going to come out.
The thing what's cool about it is, as a musician, what happened is in the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, music was as good as it has ever been, in my opinion, because there wasn't the aesthetic value in terms of, like, people were musicians, they weren't movie stars and musicians. So, like, they say TV killed the radio star. That's very, very true.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
That's super true. But now, see, what happened with social media and with the internet is the internet and social media have given the music back to the people. That's what I like to say. Because I can, look, we made 2 EPs in a year with no one's help.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we had the people that we worked with in studios and stuff. But we don't work for Capitol Records. You know what I mean? Like, back in the day, you used to have to give a record company your demo, and
you used to have to go to a radio station, be like, please play this on the radio.
Not even at that point, but even before that, when you just want to make the music, you had to go beg a record company and say, please, please, please.
Or, like I said, you had to know somebody.
Yeah.
Exactly. So social media has given music back to the people.
Especially now that we have these little awesome smart devices that you could just set up, like, hey, I'm going to record myself.
As much as I'm not really into SoundCloud rappers,
I was just going to mention
SoundCloud rappers.
I was literally just going to mention SoundCloud. That was like a big platform. Obviously, there's probably other outlets that musicians could have used, but
as much as I'm not a big fan of podcasts, here we are.
Here we are. I mean, social media, that's kind of why we're here, right?
Yeah.
It's giving us an outlet to share. Where did we put our first
shoot
podcast?
the shit, man.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, it gave us we have a platform for our own content,
Yeah.
and that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
We're the lemonade stand of media.
I like
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's our first t-shirt idea.
Pretty neat.
All right, so let's.
Where we at right
I
now?
think that's everything, boys. We can
Let's
get
get
into
our MVPs. And
voting in our MVPs. Yeah.
all right, so Trent was Mac Miller.
Okay.
State your case.
Dude, I mean, Ado pretty much said it for me, man. High school was a huge part. I mean, going through high school, you're listening to, I am personally, Mac Miller and Kid Cudi. I mean, obviously I wanted Kid Cudi to be my MVP, but he's not in his 20s anymore. He's an old guy. But, it's just, you can connect with music, and music connects you with so many other people. I mean, for example, Ado and I were good friends in high school. when I went to the first college apartment, dude, he was a big fan of Mac Miller. Bam, we hit it off. It was just like something that we could talk about. Genuine guy. That one hurt. You know, when you got the news across the social media and all that stuff, that one definitely hurt. Didn't believe it.
Yeah, that was a tough one for sure.
Definitely a tough one. And this, you know, it sucks. It sucks that he's gone because he was such a great artist. He was a humbled guy, and I guess I don't know. It's tough, but I just figured I was listening to all of his music pretty much all week this whole past week. It was this Mac Miller theme, so I was like, who's better?
And I want to say, the dude was just getting to the best music he'd ever made.
That's what's a killer.
That really is, as a musician, that's what pains me to the depths of my core, because this last album, Swimming, and even The Divine Feminine, was
incredible,
unreal musically. Like he could not have had a single word, and you could listen to that music and it's good. Mm-hmm. That's what I think he started to invoke, was like a more soul flavor, the driven bass line. Like come on, like you hear that bass line one time, you know what the song is.
Exactly. Yeah.
And those components didn't become a part of his music until just, the last couple of albums. And that's really for someone who wasn't fortunate enough to actually know the guy, all I really hold on to so dearly is his music.
Yeah, it gives you a way to connect to him.
And I always say this, and it breaks my heart every time I say it, but imagine all the great songs you'll never hear.
Right.
And not just from him, but from other people who passed too soon. Amy Winehouse.
I mean, music it's not just entertainment. It's a way to connect to people. It's a way to bring people together. Like, you made a good point last week about when we were talking generations. Like, you go to concerts and you see people of all ages because they had something that they all enjoyed together and they were all able to listen to. And
different people.
For a lot of people, it's therapeutic, and it's just
that's the thing is and I don't mean to speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself in saying that, like, music as a creator is definitely my outlet. Mm-hmm. But it's a dangerous game because you write your best stuff when you're in the most turmoil. Yeah. Does that make sense? You write better music when you are feeling deeper. Mm-hmm. And when you feel deeper, you're more vulnerable. And when you're more vulnerable and you're susceptible to certain risks, it can be a recipe for disaster.
Well, it's because everybody feels that way at some point, and you can put that in a form. That's
exactly what I think Mac Miller did for people, which is why it was so hard for people to move on when he passed. Is he gave someone a voice 9 times out of 10 that they didn't know they had. You know what I'm saying?
Just time-wise, too, with his albums. Kids was like our senior year. Like, come on.
Just a motherfucking kid.
Yeah, like, come on. No, he was fantastic. He's my MVP candidate.
Man, that Best Day Ever video will cut you apart nowadays, huh?
Top one of your favorite songs from him, off the top of your head. Go ahead.
Man, I'm going to say What's the Use? I'm going to say Thoughts from a Balcony. I'll say Blue Slide, or Fifth Ave, hilarious song.
Yep.
That's when he was Easy Mac with the cheesy raps.
Nike's on My Feet, 2009.
Nike's on My Feet, man. Cypher.
Damn. All right, we're gonna get all musty up here.
Cool. You guys are gonna start crying. I'm not even gonna say my MVP again.
My MVP is my unnamed pot dealer.
Miles.
Yeah, I mean, mine was Derek White, but I'm obviously putting all my chips towards Mac right now.
Who was Derek White again, though?
He was the basketball player that plays for San Antonio.
Oh yeah, that's why.
Colorado kid.
I
picked him because he's a Colorado kid.
He's slicing and dicing the Nuggets that you're not watching right now, so it doesn't.
So I think we can all agree that the winner is my pot dealer then. Right?
Miles. That was good.
I think in the spirit of 420, we give it to Mac Miller as well, because I know the dude would be burning one down today for sure.
R.I.P. Mac.
R.I.P. Mac.
Rest in peace,
this was a good one, dudes. This was good. Where are we at time wise?
We're way over an hour. That's why we're good at what we do, baby.
Absolutely. Hey, yeah, I loved it. This is perfect.
Next time we're going to be talking about Netflix binge-worthy topics. I'm going to tell you about the time I did DMT. And then looks like we got some NFL fantasy draft. Possibly, we'll talk about some stuff. Career highs and lows. Look at all these great
If you beautiful folks out there have any ideas or topics that you would like us to talk about, feel free to shoot us some ideas on the comments or some tweets.
And shout out to all the people that listened even for a few seconds last week.
First one,
You guys, I mean, looking at the stats, you guys made us feel awesome. You kind of pushed it.
I woke up that day and I was like, dude, we've reached how many people so far?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Definitely got me back to doing the second one with you guys, despite the fact that you stink. So
Yeah. Let's talk about the studio.
Hey man, this is where it all begins.
let the record show that we're really soaking up each other's sweat right now for the sake of the listeners. You don't like the sound
Like Ace Ventura when he's stuck in that
you
rhino.
don't like the sound of a fan.
Just like the Ace Ventura.
But what I forgot to do last week was plug in our social medias. 20-something podcasts on pretty much everything.
Twitter,
Podcast
Facebook.
at Twitter, it's at Podcast 20.
At Podcast 20.
We're gonna be on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we're gonna be
We will be on iTunes soon.
iTunes,
Yeah.
maybe Spotify.
Maybe
we'll see.
Spotify. Yeah,
Give you
like
guys
the
more ways to
page.
listen.
Like the page. Give us a follow. It helps us out.
Share it.
Listen, share it. You know, we really appreciate you. Without you guys, especially at the beginning of this podcast, without like the viewership, this is tougher to do. Just like Dan said. So when we had all of that positive feedback and all that reach last week, it made it definitely easier for us to be here. But closing words, Ada.
I'm Adrian Hernandez. Thank you, folks, for listening. My final word of the day is burn one down and have a good 420. Yeah.
This is Dan Gibbons. My final word: don't do drugs, kids.
And I'm your host, Trent Snarich. My final thought is spread positivity on social media, peeps.
That's pretty much the same thing as smoke one.
Absolutely.
Cool.
We'll check you later.
Check you later.